Hello everyone and welcome to a tutorial in digital painting on the IBIS Paint X application. Another important tool that I'm going to show you is called the blur. So press on the drop icon on the left toolbar and then use your brush tool, adjust its size and opacity with the two scales we have down here, the thickness and opacity, and pay attention to which layer we are using the blur option. So it's very important to draw and blur on the appropriate layers while we are working. Press your layers button. And now I've moved the circle layer up from the blank layer. It's very important to do this and do it on the appropriate layer. So we've applied the blur brush and this is how it's going to look now. We're blurring the edge of the circle, applying it on the surface that we have. We can change our brush for the blur in this way and start applying it on the surface again with the thickness, etc. You can reduce the size and opacity with the two scales you have down here. And this is how it will look when we apply it to the circle. The next tool we are going to go through right now is color. Remember, it's the third option from the left on the lower toolbar, the square. When we tap on it, a window like this opens up. On the right side, we can select the proper saturation and the lightness of the color, as well as that opacity, like this. And through the circle up here as well, we can select the color. On this part, we can choose the level of darkness and intensity on our color. Once we've made the adjustments, click on the palette on the left and add your color, like so. This is how you add colors to your palette so you can use them again easily. And you also press the delete button if you want to delete a button. Now we're going to open a new layer and select the proper brush, adjusting its size and opacity through the two scales. The next step will be to choose the color that we want. So now I'm adjusting the brush, pressing the brush icon, selecting a brush, and then changing the size of it, the opacity of it. Now selecting the color, look at my hand movements. So make sure you're using the proper brush size and opacity. You'll need to disable the drawing tool options. I'm going to show you how to do so. So to do so, you press the options button up here, drawing tool off, and then you're ready to go. You have to have the settings saved in this way, so please look closely. Now we're going to start shading this side of the circle with the color we have chosen. So look carefully at what I'm doing. We need to make our color brighter, so we open the color section here and adjust the color tonality in this way and keep on adding the brighter color on the surface in this way. As you can see, when we are adding the shading layers, we crossed the lines of the circle. What can we do about it? Well, we can open the layer section, which we remember is down below on the right here. And we're going to choose the layer with the shading on this way. Then we tap on the clipping option, which is down here. And as you can see, all we have drawn comes to the lower layer and we do not need to erase anything. We now need to go through this section which allows us to determine the levels of darkness and lightness of our color, making our color lighter. So we add. You do it in the color options down below, and this is how you can do it. Now adding a new layer, tapping on the plus sign, then we tap on the clipping that we've just discovered. Check the size and opacity of the brush. We can even bring the opacity a bit lower and start working on the circle again. Then you can adjust the size of the brush based on the part you are working on. As we reach the edges, we reduce the size. Look carefully at my hand movements, please, and try to follow me as closely as you can while you are working on your circle sample. Next, we'll need to select the blur option that we have learnt about earlier on. So to select the blur option, it's the teardrop on the left menu, and we're adjusting its tip here. We're going to use it and blur some parts of the circle here. Follow my hand movements, please. And in little circular motions like you would with a pen or pencil, going over with the blur option. Now we're going to open our layers to merge these two layers. But first we need to lower the opacity of this final layer. So make sure you're on the proper layer. We can manage the opacity of the layer through the scale down below. We can do it for all the layers we have. For instance, on this layer, this is what happens if we lower the opacity of this layer. And we want to do the same with this layer here. So we tapped on it and bring its opacity to the middle. One more time. If we bring the opacity down, this is how it would look like. And if we bring it back up, this is how it would look like. So now we are going to merge these two layers together by tapping on the arrow we have here, as it was mentioned before. Now we want to change the position of the circle, so we select this option on our side toolbar, and then we can easily move it around. We can also manually add the numbers for the right placements down here and adjust it where we want it to be. We have a perspective option here as well. If we tap on it and use the handles in this way, we can apply more changes to the circle. On the mesh form option that we have over here, we can change the draw order to the extent that we want and then use the handles to apply changes to it in the way that we want. Play with the options you have on these parts and apply changes in the way that you want. One of the best ways to learn how to work with a new program is going through it with your teacher, and this is exactly what we are doing right now. So it's better and more efficient if you go through the steps at the same time with me to become familiar with the program and its different options. Well, this is it for this lesson. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Make sure you send me all your questions, please, and I'll see you in other lessons. Bye for now.